Hey dudes, this is Bonnie Hayes. I sang Girls Like Me on the original Valley Girl soundtrack. You're listening to Tommy Throwback Kovac on Splat from the Past. He fucking rocks.
Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming Share Pedersen-Ross, the bass player for the all-girl 80s hair metal band Vixen, and I am so fucking excited to have her on the show today. I'm on the edge of a broken heart. Such a classic song. I can't wait to have her on. We're going to talk about her journey through music, being in that band. She was also in a super group called Contraband with Michael Shankar. And Schenker, not Shankar. Sounds Indian if I say Shankar. It's Shankar, German name. And then she became a rock and roll life coach. And I can't wait to talk to her about that because I don't know exactly what a rock and roll life coach is. I know what a life coach is, but not a rock and roll one. And I've had a lot of coffee today, so excuse me if I'm stumbling over my words and stuff. But I can't wait to have her on. It's going to be great. So yeah, here is my interview with Share Pedersen-Ross.
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Cher, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. You know, it's the day before 4th of July, so can't complain.
Damn straight. I know. It's nice. It's nice. Oh, good.
This is such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, my gosh. Thanks for working on my crazy schedule. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it because I appreciate you and your music, so of course.
Awesome.
So, going back in time, at what age did you start gravitating towards music?
Super early. My mom is a musician, and everybody in her family. So I started playing music and singing when I was 4, and kind of never turned back. So it was just always there, you know.
Yeah. Was it a jazz, classical, that kind of stuff?
It was a lot of American standards. We had a lot of jam sessions and stuff like that. So a big, wide range. My mom played piano. She played classical, but she used to be a barroom entertainer in the Midwest. So she played anything and everything, and also played upright bass. And there was a lot of just crazy, weird musical influences back then. It was awesome. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Was piano your first instrument?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Started out on piano and basically learned to read music at the same time that I learned to read books.
Wow.
So, I know. It was super weird. Like, I didn't realize that I sort of grew up thinking everybody could read music. I didn't know that. I just thought everybody learned that.
I wish I had a talent for reading music. I wish I had any kind of musical talent. My father had a rock band when I was growing up, a terrible rock band, and he's the first to admit it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I envy anybody who can read music and have any musical talent like that. How many instruments overall do you play?
Let's see. Well, piano, obviously bass guitar. I hack my way through that. I could play the drums, but I would never call myself a drummer. Never in a million years. And then, of course, singing. So it really just the 4 if you count vocals. Yeah.
What as far as rock and roll, what bands did you listen to growing up?
I was heavily influenced by older brothers. So initially, for me, I was gravitating towards, the Monkees and the Archies and the Partridge Family, and then my brothers would make fun of me and put on Led Zeppelin and Procol Harum and Cream and all that kind of, Humble Pie and all that. So eventually I was sort of subjected to all of that. The Stones, of course, the Beatles, Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
Once I got into my own, then I started playing in bands and everything. You really got into Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and ZZ Top, bands like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the guy who sings Sugar Sugar on here.
That's amazing. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, I love everything, everything from, AM pop to heavy metal, hard rock and stuff. Yeah, I have eclectic
That's
taste.
cool.
Yeah, I have eclectic taste. Well, yeah, I mean, oh my God, Humble Pie, that album Smokin' is a fucking masterpiece.
It is. It is. I mean, Stevie Marriott was so talented. He was just, that was mega talented.
Yeah, did you ever get to meet him?
No, I didn't. My husband did. My husband Bam met him. They met with him to produce their album at one point. It didn't actually happen, but yeah, he met him. Yep.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, I love all those, like, 70s hard rock live albums, like UFO Strangers in the Night and Kiss Alive and Thin Lizzy's Live and Dangerous. A lot of great albums from that period.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think I wore out my Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous album. It's so good. Phil Lynott is such an amazing bass player.
Yeah.
Amazing bass player.
Do you remember the first album you ever bought?
The very first one probably was, it would have been a soundtrack. It was probably either Jungle Book Story or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. The other, I'm not sure which one. I loved pop music when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm. Mine were Phil Collins' No Jacket Required and Poison, Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was around 1991. I got like $20 of birthday money, and I grabbed those.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, my God. That is so amazing. I just had dinner last night with the producer who produced Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Not Tom Werman. Was it Tom Werman?
No. It was Rick Browdy.
Rick Browdy, okay. I was close.
Yeah, he produced that album. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember your first concert?
I do, yeah. The first concert was Rick Derringer in Black Oak, Arkansas.
Wow. That was, let's see. Okay, that was after the McCoys, obviously, and after Johnny Winter and Edgar Winter.
Yep.
So this was like, what, 77 or something?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't remember the exact year. Yeah, probably 76 or 77. I know he played rock and roll with Chiku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool, yeah. I like Rick Derringer. I think he's very underrated.
Oh, I do too.
You're born and raised in Minnesota?
I was, yeah. It was a good place to grow up. Very, very cool and fun musical atmosphere, I think, looking back on it.
Yeah, I'd never been there, but I know a lot of people call it Snowtown, USA.
Oh, God, yeah, it is so cold in the winter. It's not even funny. That was one of the main reasons that I left. I was like, this is too cold. I got to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
So before you became the replacement bass player in Vixen, were you in other bands?
Oh, yeah. I played in bands from the time I was 15 years old, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Garage bands?
I did a lot of pickup work. I was a hired gun for a lot of bands. So first in Minnesota, and then eventually I was a session player in Los Angeles. I was playing for a lot of famous sort of 50s bands would come to town, and I was on the call list. So I played with the Drifters and the Temptations and Del Shannon and people like that. And then became the regular bass player for the Australian pop singer Helen Reddy.
Oh.
Doing that for a long time. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I started looking for a band and got word that Vixen was auditioning bass players again. And they were just another band around town. And I just thought, oh, why not? I'll go check them out. And went and auditioned for them and joined the band like you do. Mm-hmm. And carried on. And then all of a sudden we had a record deal.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know about all that other stuff. Wow. Do you have any good stories about those 50s bands?
it was just a lot of craziness, just showing up, and there was never any charts. You just had to have really good ears and kind of know how to fake it till you make it. And I was always like the youngest kid there. I was just like a little punk, I was like, I don't know, 20, 21 or something. I was these guys. I'm sure they looked over at me like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And, it was just a lot of like sweating. I would sweat a lot because I would be so nervous because I didn't know their songs. I was just so young. I didn't know their songs. And they would just assume that you would know their songs. But the guys, they always had people that would put together the band, and those guys knew that I would get it pretty fast. So I found my way through it. One of the things I learned was a phrase called ice cream changes, and I learned that through those gigs.
Wow.
And that is, that's just where it's the name of a chord progression that's used a lot in 50s and even 60s, like doo-wop and stuff like that. And it's a chord progression, a 1, 6, 4, 5. So in any key, you just play the 1, 6, 4, 5, and you're going to be fine. So once I learned that helped a lot, because some of these guys would just turn around and go, ice cream, just play ice cream. First time I'm there going, what? What do you mean ice cream? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, like having somebody yell at you in another language. You don't know the language yet. So, it was like a lot of learning on the spot. Just figure it out, use your ears, and get it together. So there was a lot of that kind of stuff. I did a lot of crazy gigs like that. I had one guy who, he would give you the key, but, 2 fingers up meant it was 2 sharp.
Mm-hmm.
A couple fingers down, it was 2 fingers down, and then it's 2 flat. So you had to know what key that meant.
Yeah.
And then he'd shout the name of the song, and he stomped it in with his foot. And that was all the warning you had.
Would he also give them 1 finger up?
I know, right? Like, yeah. What? I don't know the song. I didn't know what the first chord is. Come on, give me a clue. So, it was a lot of just, like, thinking on the spot. Well, not even thinking. You didn't have time to think. You just had to go with your ears. Use your ears a lot. And then, playing for Helen Reddy was great, because she was just really, I really saw her being a professional. I learned a lot about professionalism from her. And, you go up and you do the best that you can no matter what, because this might be the only time they've ever seen you perform. So nobody in the audience cares what's going on in your personal life. And she would walk on stage and just deliver. She would deliver every gig, every single gig.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
I'm a karaoke singer, and I used to do I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar, and I would do her eyebrows and make everyone howl.
Oh, my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I can imagine you, though, playing with the Drifters, and they're all going, hey, what's with the white girl?
They never gave me any kind of notice one way or the other. They were just, I was like, yeah, laying it down good, kid,
Yeah.
I think it was more about my age back then, Everybody else would be, like, in their 30s and 40s, and I'm, like, this young kid, It was pretty funny.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. So once you were in Vixen, though, I mean, did everything just gel together that you guys just had this instant chemistry?
Well, the 3 of them had been going for a little bit. Roxy was relatively new compared, next to me as well. Mm-hmm. She'd only been in there for about a year or something. And then once I joined, then our manager just got us a record deal, like, instantly. It was, like, so fast that it made my head spin.
Wow.
And, and that's when everything just took off. And, there's just a musical thing that happens sometimes, and it definitely happened with us. We'd get in the room, and it was just, we just all clicked right away musically, so it was great. There was nothing in the way. It was just, like, full steam ahead.
And like you, they had come from Minnesota, but they came to L.A., right?
Only the guitar player was from Minnesota. She had moved out there with a whole different lineup. It's just like any band. Mm-hmm. There was like 9,000 members before the lineup that you saw on MTV.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through, quite a number of members. So Jan, the original guitar player who passed away, several years ago now.
Yeah.
She was from Minnesota. And so it was basically her group that she put together and founded in Minnesota. Then they all moved to L.A. It's one by one, everybody changed and left, got replaced, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually it landed with, Janet, the singer from Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roxy was from Detroit. And then I just happened to be from Minnesota, but we never knew each other back there. So it was kind of bizarre. But yeah, we ran in different circles back there, so we didn't know each other. So yeah, that's kind of how it all came together, just like one by one like that. And then once we had the record deal, then, which was not easy back then because nobody wanted an all-female rock band.
Mm-hmm.
But once we had it and we were moving along, then it was just pedal to the metal and just go. We played, I think, something like 300 gigs that first year.
Mm-hmm.
Just nonstop touring. Just go, go, go.
Wow. Yeah, and before you had joined, the biggest deal they had gotten was they got to have some songs on the soundtrack to the movie Hard Bodies.
Yeah, it was a different lineup. That was Jan and Janet were in that, but nobody else. Not me, not Roxy.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different lineup and different songs, like different vibe altogether, and different direction musically even. Yeah. They didn't really have any record deals prior to the EMI one that we all got.
Mm-hmm. And you signed to EMI Manhattan Records. This was right at the height of 80s hair metal, as they called it. It was mostly a male-dominated system. The only females that were successful in the genre at the time were like Joan Jett, Lita Ford, and the Wilson sisters and Hart. Was there a lot of pressure on you all?
Pressure? I'm not. What do you mean? Pressure in what way?
Because it was mostly a male-dominated system. I mean, did you face any sexism from the industry?
Just in terms of getting the initial deal and everything. Nobody really wanted to sign us, and there was just silly comments made, like women shouldn't play music like this, and just stupid stuff like that. But we were so used to it. We've all, at that time, in that era especially, it was so common to get bizarre comments.
Yeah.
As a player or as an all-female band. It didn't matter if you were just standing by yourself in a room and everybody says, "Oh, what do you play?" And you know, I play bass, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
So, we were just so you just grow a thick skin about it and don't really care. So I don't think we felt any pressure. It was more just like a little bit of frustration, and then you just laugh. Because what are you going to do? It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly had a good laugh about it a lot of times. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Frustration. Yeah, that was the word I was actually looking for. Not pressure. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go. No, that's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
All good.
You ladies rock. That first album is a masterpiece, I think. Edge of a Broken Heart was a huge hit. That I did not know that was written by Richard Marx and Fee Waybill.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah, Richard came into our rehearsal studio and we worked on it, sort of with him or whatever, and
because you two were label mates.
We were label mates and management mates. We all had the same manager and same label.
Ah, small fucking world in those days.
Totally.
Yeah,
big time.
And strangely enough, Bon Jovi had a song called Edge of a Broken Heart, which was supposed to be on Slippery When Wet. It got left off, but then it ended up on the soundtrack to the Fat Boys movie Disorderlies, like the next year.
Wow, that's some crazy trivia.
Yeah, but it's a totally different song, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I actually met Fee Waybill about 4 years ago. I went to go see the Tubes play at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, and they did a meet and greet afterwards. He's a pretty interesting guy, pretty intense.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, I just did we did a cover of White Punk's on Dope, the new Down and Out album with Joe Elliott.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, everything else was originals on the new album, but that song was so fun to play on bass. Oh my gosh, so fun to play.
Yeah, it's funny. You see him on stage, just being all crazy and theatrical and stuff, right? And then you see him off stage, and he's a totally different guy. But you can kind of see how that manifests itself,
Yeah, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? It's like Alice Cooper and Ozzy Osbourne. You know, there's the on stage and then there's the off stage.
Yeah. Alice Cooper, of course, being the educator.
Yes, definitely.
The history lesson guy. Crying is a great song. That has a heart-esque quality to it. I like that one.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. I Want You to Rock Me, Love Made Me, which was co-written by Marcy Levy. That's an interesting note there. Hellraisers is a good one. Yeah, you girls got
super fun.
You girls got really lucky on that first album. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. I see you opened for a lot of great bands on the tours, like Scorpions, Bon Jovi, Ozzy, Kiss, Deep Purple. Those are some pretty interesting combos. Do you have any great road stories about them?
None that I remember. We had a lot of fun. We just had a lot of fun. We really enjoyed the tours, and pretty much almost guaranteed, like every time it was the first night of the tour, the band and the crew would be standing at the side of the stage to make sure we could really play. And then after that first song, they were like, damn, Vixen is good. They actually rock. This is cool. And then we were all best buddies from that point forward. So it was always a gas. And, we were just always treated like another band. So we always had a blast and treated them the same and had a good time.
Did you have any run-ins with Motley Crue?
No, not really. Not really, no.
Yeah, did you see that documentary, or not that documentary, that biopic that was made about them on Netflix?
Yeah, totally, yeah. That's pretty funny.
God, I would never want to hang out with those guys. They'd get me into so much trouble.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, do you know any of that stuff to be pretty accurate, though?
I'm not going to comment on that. I don't want to get in trouble.
I'll take that as a yes.
Well, I'm going to leave that one alone.
Okay. You girls got interviewed for the Decline to Western Civilization 2. Do you remember anything about that?
Just that I remember we did that film, and we already had a record deal when we did that whole film. Mm-hmm. And I remember when it came out, it seemed like in the film like we were still trying to get a record deal. And I remember thinking, well, let's make it look like we don't have it. And I thought, okay, well, it gives it like a little bit more of a story, I guess. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes sense in a way.
Yeah. Did you play the Roxy and the Whiskey a lot?
By that time we didn't. No, we were already. We just got the record deal and just hardly were in LA. We were just always playing everywhere else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love those places. I also love the Rainbow. God, they got great pizza over there.
They do. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. The second album, Rev It Up, has some pretty good tunes on it also. How much love? I love that song.
Yeah, it's killer.
Yeah, didn't Steve Plunkett from Autograph co-write that?
Yep, he sure did. I think so, anyway.
Yeah, were they a friend of the band?
Oh yeah, for sure. We bumped into so many people in rehearsal studios and stuff back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Love is a Killer. That's a wonderful song.
Yeah, that's a really cool tune.
Mm-hmm. Did you co-write a lot of the songs?
On the second album, I did. Yeah, not on the first one.
Mm-hmm. Was there any tension within the band while recording the second album?
Not really. No, it was more of just I think maybe more outside the band. By the time the album came out and was in stores, there was a lot of tension between the record label and our management, and so we would show up to play gigs and whatnot, and people were saying, "We can't find your record. We can't buy it. It's not in the store," and so that became a big issue.
Oh boy, yeah. I remember in the mid '90s, Janet Gardner, she was interviewed for this little mini documentary they did. It came from the '80s, the metal years or whatever and stuff. And she was like taking up golf at that time. And she said something like, being in the music industry, you're used to everybody's opinion. Now I could be on the golf course and not worry about people's opinion. I can do this many holes in one day.
That is funny.
Yeah. So why did the band break up initially?
A few reasons. One, we lost that record deal because our manager and the president of the record label had a huge falling out. Mm-hmm. And so that happened, and then everything just kind of fizzled from there. Like, that was right at the time when Nirvana hit as well. And so between not having a record deal anymore and then Nirvana hitting, and then we had a divided, direction for a band. We couldn't agree on a direction, and then our manager was like sort of trying to conquer and divide the band as well. So it just was a recipe for disaster, really.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God! Did MI go bankrupt around that time, or is that later?
That was later.
Later. Oh God, that's unfortunate. Yeah, you girls didn't get to make that great third album. I mean, they got back together. They got back together years later and did a couple more albums, but you girls didn't get to do that one like right at the tail end of the hair metal era when grunge was coming in. Like a lot of bands got to do. Yeah. How did the Contraband come about?
That was the manager again. Every band was a band that he managed.
Yeah, Schenker, what a fucking genius he is. Like I
said,
he's
great.
Like I said, I'm a huge UFO fan. We just lost the guy who replaced him, Paul Chapman, unfortunately.
Right.
He was good, but Schenker, God, he's a virtuoso. I mean, were you just in awe of him working with him?
I'm not really much in awe of anybody except for Miles Davis, who's gone. So I just had a blast. He and I used to just whip out our bass and guitar and just have a jam session.
Wow, you met Miles Davis?
I never met him. I saw him play.
Oh, you saw him play.
Yeah. Really influenced by Miles.
Yeah. That cover you guys did of Good Rockin' Tonight, that bulldozes the Montrose version. I mean, I like that one too, of course, because Montrose, one of the best albums of all time, but you guys did a really good cover of that.
Oh, thanks. That's funny.
Yeah, well, it was Redemption over the Honey Drippers version, that one-time band that Robert Plant had in the mid-'80s.
Oh, yeah.
They did a horrible version of Good Rockin' Tonight, but you guys you bulldozed the hell out of that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Funny. So how did you transition into being the rock and roll life coach?
I did that for a while. I've always had to earn a living. So for a while I was a video coach, and I was coaching entrepreneurs how to talk to camera, and it developed into life coaching. So it sort of happened organically. And then after that, just sort of shifted gears, and I became a real estate agent instead. And now that's my full-time gig these days.
That's your full-time gig these days. Mm-hmm. But do you have any life advice that you still offer these days?
The life coaching thing is basically, it's a lot of common sense. It's like, I think the biggest thing that will come up with people is they put other people's needs first a lot.
Yes.
And we are raised to believe that is the right thing to do. That's the best thing to do. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but, if you are putting and it's a fine line, don't get me wrong. If you're putting other people's needs first to the degree that you are not taking care of yourself,
yes,
that you are putting your own happiness at the bottom of the pile, your health, things like that, it doesn't work. It will not work. Mm-hmm. You're gonna ruin that relationship. Your kids are not going to have role models. Whatever the situation is, it will not work. at some point, and it's viewed as being selfish, but at some point you have to step up for yourself. It's like, this is not, it's like in terms of music, this isn't a rehearsal. This is your life. You only get it once.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're never going to have this day back. You're never going to have this hour back. So, and at the same time, I'm a big believer in, compromise and, of course, sacrificing things to help other people. It just is, it's a fine line. And it was something that would come up over and over and over again with coaching, that people would put other people's happiness way, way above their own, to the point of making themselves very small. I hope that makes sense. That's probably the biggest thing that came up a lot. Like, I can't even begin to tell you.
It does. My mother, she puts everybody before herself. She always has, and we've been trying to tell her a lot lately, that she needs to she needs to take care of herself first before anybody, because there's a fine line between being selfish and being self-centered, and I think
yes.
I think she doesn't realize that, and I think a lot of people in this world don't realize that, because you're right. People are raised to believe that, putting yourself before others is a very good thing, and it is, but there's got to be a boundary there.
That's just it. I think we're not taught about boundaries. We're not taught how to speak up for ourselves until a lot of times when somebody goes to finally speak up for themselves because, the last straw has broken the camel's back. It comes out as like this verbal slew of rage, you know what I mean? Because they weren't speaking up for so long. But, I've dealt with people who had health issues and, all sorts of crazy stuff. And at some point you gotta stand up and kind of draw a boundary around it. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I think one of the biggest things is just communication. Learning how to communicate. And it's an ongoing process. It's not like you learn it once and then you're done. It is ongoing. There will continue to be situations and confrontational situations that are terrifying. And it happens to everybody. There isn't anybody on the planet, no matter how successful we think they are, that doesn't have shit that scares them.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my mother, she's the type of person she'll meet a person in public and get their number, and then when she gets to know them, talk to them, second or third time, they'll say something like, I'm struggling financially. Oh, I would love that, but I can't get that. And my mom, offers to help them. And then in the long run, they end up taking advantage of her, too, and taking advantage of people is a big issue in this country also.
Oh, it is for sure. It is for sure.
Yeah, you got to be very selective with who you help. And you also got to make sure, okay, this person has told me this and has done this in their past, but yet they seem to be repeating all the same mistakes. Do I really want to help this person and risk, getting hurt?
Yes. Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
That is straight up. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with all that. One of the other things that would come up a lot would be people's beliefs about themselves. So in other words, you are not what you do. You just are. So a lot of times people get stuck on, I am a wife, or I am a sister, or I am a mother, or I am a failure, or I am a loser. I've tried this before and it never worked, blah, blah, blah. And so the beliefs are wrapped up in the stories that we tell ourselves. And that's probably another, it kind of goes hand in hand with the boundary thing, but there's a lot of stories that we tell ourselves that reinforce, what we choose, and those choices turn into habits, and those habits turn into our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Very well said. Oh my God. we got all serious all of a sudden.
We got super deep, dude. We got really deep. Really, really deep. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think, one of the questions I always say is if you have regrets about something, did you do the best that you could do with the tools that you had at the time?
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to look back with hindsight and say, oh, if only I'd done this, or if only I'd done that, or if only I'd said this or said that, blah, blah, blah. And, releasing those regrets is a really big thing in being able to move on and make decisions from now, from this moment forward, And that gives us so much freedom when we do that. Just so much freedom. It's amazing.
We all do the woulda, coulda, shoulda,
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 years that I'm haunted by, 2009 and 2014. I did some of the dumbest shit in my life in those 2 years that I wish I could go back and fix, because I would be a lot more happier in the present. The only thing that makes me truly happy in the present is the fact that I have this podcast and I talk to so many amazing people, such as yourself. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I just wish, I could fix, but, as Forrest Gump said, that his mama said to him, before you can move on, you have to put the past in the past.
So true. Forrest Gump's mama had it so right. I love it.
So besides doing the real estate thing, though, I mean, do you ever play music at all?
Well, besides the Vixen shows, you mean?
Yeah.
Right now Vixen's on a hiatus because of the virus, but we should be back soon. And then, I'm always making, I just did the album with Joe Elliott from Def Leppard. And then I'm going to be doing a second album with my husband for Twin Flames Radio. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm always out. A lot of times I remote record bass for people and stuff like that, too.
Forgive my ignorance. I didn't even know you were back in Vixen. I think that's fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah, we've been together since 2011, 12?
Yeah, because I mentioned before about, they did a couple of reunion albums without you. Did you just decide you just didn't want to do those?
I was doing my own band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was just pretty busy doing my own band thing. But, we reunited, Janet, me, Roxy, and we had to get Gina because Jan was going through cancer treatment at that time. Mm-hmm. And then she passed away, so then we carried on. And then eventually we got Britt Lightning on guitar, and then Janet left the band, and now we have Lorraine Lewis.
Mm-hmm. What was Jan like?
She was just really nice. Yeah, she was just a really nice person. Very, very quiet, but she always remembered everybody's birthdays. Mm-hmm. Amazing.
my kind of girl, I'll tell you. I always remember my mother's birthday. My brother doesn't. I remember my mother's birthday so much that about 5 years ago, going back to being deep again, I had a car accident, and I was in a coma for 30 days, and I woke up on her birthday, and I have no memory of waking up because I was under all that anesthesia, but that just tells you how good I am at remembering her birthday.
Right. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. That's good. That's good that she was like that. And she was the oldest one of all you, right?
Yeah. Yep, she was. Yep.
Yeah. So she had been around. She had seen rock and roll at its beginning. Till till you all started playing together and stuff. That's so awesome. So, Cher, I have this secret silly game that I like to play with my guests, and what this is it's a series of silly slumber party questions, and
sounds fun.
It is. And how this works is I ask you the question, you answer it, and then you ask me the exact same question, and I answer it.
Okay.
It's no win or lose. It's just pure, unadulterated fun.
Sounds good.
Cher, are you ticklish?
Yes. Tommy, are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish. You tickle me, I'm just going to get a knee-jerk reaction.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Tommy, I have no idea. I think it's an innie. I'm not really sure. What about you?
I have an innie, for sure. Have you had a lot of surgeries? That's why you don't know?
I not really. I actually had back surgery, but I guess I never really paid any attention.
Huh, that's interesting. What color are your toenails painted?
Oh, I'm such a tomboy. They're not painted right now. What about yours?
They are au naturel.
There you go.
I usually like to go elaborate. I usually like to do, like, purple with sparkles or French white tip with sparkles, stuff like that.
Nice. Nice.
What would you say is your best personality trait?
Hopefully my best personality trait is that I make other people feel good.
Oh,
What about you?
I think you do. My sense of empathy and the fact that I have no filter. Those are my two best.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Stinky smell that makes me gag. Probably just skunk.
That's a popular one.
Yeah, what about you?
Either farts or feet.
There you go. Good one.
Yeah, anyone who has kids is not affected by that.
There you go.
I don't have kids.
Magically.
I don't have kids, but I have nephews and nieces.
There you go.
Well, Cher.
Love it.
Yeah, Cher, I thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Tommy.
Of course.
And
I hope after quarantine ends, you girls go on the road and fucking rock. If you come to California, I'll come see you girls.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been there a few times in the last couple of years. I know we played a couple of the Hard Rocks and the Whiskey, and hopefully we'll be back. Hopefully gigs will be back, or the point.
I hope so too. This virtual crap, it's driving me crazy, the virtual crap. You can't have fun that way. Everyone looks and sounds like a fucking robot.
Yeah, it's super weird. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, Cher, you have a great night over there, and I hope you don't mind in the intro I call you Share Pedersen-Ross.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever it takes that people can find it.
Okay. Have a good night.
All right. All right. You too, Tommy. Thank you.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Share Pedersen-Ross. Ain't she a sweetheart? Oh, my God. She's cool. I love tomboys. They are fucking awesome. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.